I'm going to be that guy again. People need to hear it. You can't outrun yourself. Everyone knows that friend who jumps from relationship to relationship and never addresses the root cause of the breakdown of every relationship they've ever had. They never do any introspection or reflection or anything. They just hop from person to person to person and they blame the other person and they never do any of the work. There's a whole cohort of people on the internet that are the same. These platform hopping people who have ruined every platform that they touch, okay? And those people moved into Bluesky on day one. Just so you know, they were the people who were mad that Elon Musk bought their app out from under them before he had even done anything. Now, in 2024, obviously, the context of that has changed. Okay, now I know that people don't care about context or history, past, present, future, facts, truth, root cause, anything other than the thing that's right here in front of their face right now. And you go, I see that, grunt, move, platform, but I'm going to give you a bit of history, which is the fact that Twitter was ruined by the people who left Twitter for Bluesky. And those people left Tumblr after ruining it for Twitter. And they left LiveJournal for Tumblr. Are you seeing a pattern? It's a group of people. It's a particular group of people who ruin every fucking platform and they blame the platform and they drag everyone with them. These are the people who are the most toxic people on the platform. They are bullies. They target people. They are word police. People like me who've been warning about this stuff for years and years and years, where the most annoying people on the internet have somehow taken over and they have kicked everyone off their platform. They crack a hissy fit when people say the wrong words or ask a question or say anything, and you find yourself on a list, you find yourself harassed, and that's not going away just because you move to Bluesky. And this is a blind spot for the left, which is something where it's easy because the right obviously are responsible for a lot of harassment, right? And turning Twitter into Gab is a whole other thing. Like, you can curate your experience. For the most part, I don't see these things because I have trained my algorithm over time. That is something that I give up if I go to Bluesky and I see the most annoying, super online, absolute bellends from Twitter that I've blocked and muted over the years, hanging out there. They've moved in, they've planted roots, and they're in charge over there. And that's what you've just got to be aware of by going to Bluesky. It's not going to be any better for you. Now, this is in no way a defense of Elon Musk and what's going on. But I understand that you're upset. I understand that people are afraid. Those fears are legitimate, okay? But we were on Twitter before him. He will get bored. Him and Trump will fall out. I give it a month. Based on what I've seen, I give it a month before Trump is Elon's enemy number one and vice versa. Twitter has always had its ups and downs where it's awful. And one massive part of this whole narrative that the Bluesky people are going with is this idea that Twitter was somehow good before Elon Musk took it over, or that somehow they weren't the actual perpetrators, or that they're not largely to blame for where the platform is today. Because if not for their nonsense and their conduct and their block lists and their bullying and their mass reporting campaigns and their cancellation campaigns by saying the most awful shit ever, inciting a pile-on and a dog pile and brigading against ordinary people for living their lives and saying normal shit, that maybe this backlash that you're seeing right now might not be occurring and Elon Musk might not have even bothered to buy it. Do you understand that this is not about the present moment, but there is context and history, and events lead to other events. People seem to forget that it's not everything happens in a vacuum, but I do try to at least provide some context and history here. And this is something that I've been talking about for years and years and years, which is Twitter bullies who use platform manipulation. They use lists. They put people on lists without their consent. They use those lists to mass report and bully and harass people. They target them from every direction. And that's not going away on Bluesky because those features are still there. And those people are the ones who moved in and have decided they're in charge. And it's not going to go well. It's just going to end up being another Twitter, and then there will be another backlash, and then they'll move somewhere else. It's not all about MAGA and alt-right and far-right. Again, yes, there's a far-right problem. Like, a lot of the shit is horrible. I don't like it. Mute it. I don't see it. I don't see the same things that you see, and you can take control of your experience there. Now, I understand the argument of not wanting to encourage Elon Musk or give him any money. I understand that part, right? But at the same time, you've got to think about your own motivations, because if you're not doing an audit on how you contribute overall to the social media experience, then you're completely missing the point. Because Twitter went to shit because the users ruined it. And it's the same group of users over and over again who ruin every social media community, which is bullies. People who are not content with live and let live and must enforce their worldview on others at all times. Fucking rich American kids lecturing fucking Australians about colonialism and colonial language and fucking cultural appropriation. I mean, fuck off. No, it's not yours. We got to say too, you're not in charge. We must be handed the banned words of the week, whether it's from evangelical Christians or fucking, evangelical gender studies dipshits, policing everyone's words. Fundamentalist Christians to fucking fundamentalist Butlerites. Most annoying people on the fucking planet. Everyone who doesn't get the memo from the banned words list of the week, which has been put into a giant database where even the word fucking Seppo is considered hate speech now. The blasphemy of the week. And it's like, they're the problem. They're the ones that are never going to fucking reflect on their own behaviour. But I'll tell you now, the fundamentalist Butlerites are in charge at Bluesky. They're already building block lists about people who aren't allies. They're already building fucking lists of people who don't care about their shit. They're already in a tizzy over this whole Trump election, which again is not an unfounded fear, but it is, again, off-putting to anyone remotely normal. For all the normies that are heading over to Bluesky, I don't think you know what you're in for. You're going to end up with another Twitter. Because a large part of why X is the way that it is because of a backlash against the worst group of people on the internet, which is people who cannot live and let live. Their worldview is the only worldview. Fundamentalist Christians and fundamentalist Butlerites, fundamentalist fucking everything, always in perpetual war, who cannot live and let live. And if you've got an internet forum, which is what Twitter technically is, with a never-ending forum bump of anger, it doesn't matter what the platform is. It doesn't matter who owns it. It doesn't matter, because the people who use it are going to use it for that. They're going to use it for bullying because the features are there. They've replicated Twitter. Wow. Yay. It feels like old Twitter for a little while, until you realise that old Twitter didn't have these people on it to ruin it. The brands, the marketers, the transactional people. Now, we went through this recently with an app called Clubhouse. It was a good app for a minute. It went well for a time. It was exclusive. It was invite only for a little while. And then they let the plebs in. And guess what happened? People started saying stuff outside of the bubble. And guess what happened? It went to shit. People started recording Clubhouse rooms to try and catch people saying no words. People would interrupt rooms to harass hosts. People would go into long diatribes in every room about non-violent communication. It went to shit. People lost interest. People went, I don't care for this bullshit. This is like Twitter, except I have to listen to you chewing at the same time. That's what happened to Clubhouse. And again, I'm not one of these anti-woke people. I would argue that I am more woke than most. But what I'm saying is that if you think that going to Bluesky is going to change it's not going to become Twitter very quickly, then I have a bridge to sell you. For as long as the internet's been around, there's been this group of people who ruin everything. They're the people who can't leave well alone. They have to argue. They have to show up. They can't help themselves. They're the people who see a mistake in anything and have to point it out and then create a thing. And you can't misspeak. You can't misthink. You can't do anything. And they ruin everyone's internet. They ruin social media for everyone. And guess what? They're in charge at Bluesky. So I wish you all the best of luck on that. Because Twitter, whether you like it or not, at least I've, trained my algorithm over years for a start. Second of all, you don't end up in a bubble where you might be surprised at an election result, for example, and you don't end up with a friend group who keeps saying, it's definitely all of the exes. It's definitely all of the exes. I'm not literally talking about abusive relationships. I'm talking about people who are abusers, who hop from place to place and then pretend that they're the victim. They are people who are 50-50. They're perpetrator and victim. Okay, we all know them. I've been that person too, and I've done the work since. Okay, the reason why second marriages fail more than first marriages, because there's a whole bunch of people who think that getting out of a marriage and jumping to the next one is going to fix them, and it doesn't. What you are faced with is more of you, except with baggage and kids and debt. You have to deal with you first and look at you first. And blaming X for all its flaws, and at the moment, Twitter's always had its ups and downs. This is a down, very much so. I get it, but Twitter is an idea as much as it is a product. And as an early adopter of Twitter, I was there when all of these popular kid assholes, these Tumblr assholes, moved in and invaded our space and started policing all of our words and started asking us why we say those things on Twitter. Isn't it inappropriate? How do we control what our employees are saying on Twitter? How do we stop it? How do we stop people saying things? It's like, well, you don't. Fuck off. Those are the people who are running Bluesky. Those are the people who moved in early because they cracked the shits, because they took over Twitter, they harassed everybody, mass reported everybody, tanked everyone else's account, destroyed lives, had built the relationships within old Twitter so that you could just make a phone call and get people banned. They got preferential treatment from the algorithm. They anointed these blue checks if they knew someone or worked for a publication that could buy them the blue check. Now, again, I've got so many fucking issues with the way that this verification, the blue check thing has been rolled out. He has not delivered on what he promised. It's failed badly. A perfectly good app was ruined by US media, predominantly US media, but just journalists in general. Journalists who were harvesting everyone's thoughts and tweets without attribution and built careers off of my tweets and my thoughts. They just embed that tweet in their article and call it news. Thank you, paycheck. And then people figured out that they could just create bot accounts that would say stuff, and then they could say Twitter said. It wasn't. It was your bots. You made the story. You just planted the fucking tweets, and then you report on the tweets. And everyone's like, okay. And then there started to be like money and clicks and virality. And then people realized you can just make anything true. All you need to do is run some bots that people are saying, and then you can run a headline that people are saying it. And then you can go to Wikipedia and say, according to Wyatt and Mother Jones, this is happening. And you make shit true. And then people go, oh, Wikipedia. Oh, that's the place I check to see if stuff's true. Oh, well then. It's like, okay, you think that's going to go away just because you changed the fucking logo on the app that you're using? Of course it's not. They're going to do the same thing because they're the fuckheads who ruined it. And Musk is doing it in a more overt way and for more sinister purposes. But you see, it fucking works, doesn't it? It was effective. But do you know why it was effective to begin with? It was effective to begin with because it radicalized a whole bunch of normies who just wanted to talk to their friends and connect and talk shit and be heads in the jar and have a water cooler where they could just say what the fuck they wanted to their friends. The thing about X right now is that it's a more honest version of what was under the surface before. That's the thing I think that upsets people like the Democrats and the mainstream press and the commercial media and all those things, is that it lifts the lid. Donald Trump is just the same but honest about it. I don't know. I'm in two minds. Do I prefer an honest fascist or a fascist who's pretending they're not? And I know that there are differences. I'm not saying that there isn't. But cut the shit. Again, it's this self-deception of, oh, yes, it was all great before Elon Musk bought it. No, before Elon Musk bought it, you were able to run roughshod over anybody you didn't like, destroy their lives and get them banned, deplatform them over words you don't like, even in countries that don't share your worldview, because Australians don't fucking like word police. It might be normal in Yankee land, but no, fuck off. Fuck off. We don't have the same history as you. Go fuck yourselves. You don't own us. It became HR and fucking corporate HR and their Stasi 24/7. I just wanted to tweet. I work for myself. I don't have an HR department. Go fuck yourself. I work for myself because I didn't want an HR department. And then I ended up with one anyway. Those people are the people on Bluesky right now. Now, I'm not saying everyone, because obviously the normies are being hoodwinked into moving to Bluesky. But I'm saying if you are normal in the head, you're okay with both. Most people I talk to who are rational, keeping their X account and going on Bluesky, and they're going there because the people are saying to go there and to follow the handful of celebrities that they are interested in. But, like, if you are like, yay, Bluesky is like the best, or God forbid, fucking Threads, right? I could talk about Threads, which is basically the epitome of everything wrong with social media, because Threads is what would happen if Twitter was designed in favour of the people who wrecked Twitter, which was the influencers selling shit, the advertisers, all of that. Like Twitter, X, whatever it's called, whether it's over on Bluesky. Now, again, Bluesky could be a great app. It could be the next big thing. But you got to understand that any social media app that is worth its salt and actually representative of voices across the board is going to have the same problem. That's just the problem. You're always going to have the Nazi problem, because I've talked about that at length in other videos. You inevitably come up against that problem because they like to wreck platforms as much as the HR Stasi. And that's a problem of platforms. But do you know why that is? It's because they, however misguided, feel this need to defend the internet against the other people. There's this weird symbiosis between these two crews where normies get caught in the middle and don't know what's going on, but it is an ongoing war. It has been a war since the 90s. Where suburban Americans and high income, middle class, whatever you want, again, the worst boring adult Disney fans, if you can imagine them, decide that everyone needs to live in Disneyland. And I think I'm more sympathetic to the resistance against them, as much as I'm obviously not politically aligned, because I hate those fucks. They wreck every platform, both sides. Both sides of this culture war wreck every platform that they touch. No social platform worth its salt that is inclusive of a range of voices is going to be a hug box. I'm sorry, but it's just not. And yes, Bluesky will be better for a time. But the reason is because at the moment, the thought police, I hope you understand that the people that were run off of X when Elon Musk first bought it, before he even did anything or ruined it, they just lost control of the app. They're the ones who moved in and have decided to start dictating things. You watch. They've already started. They've started harassing perfectly innocent people, putting them on lists. And it's going to be the same, because that's what happens when humans gather in groups, okay? And when you've got a group of authoritarians and a group of authoritarians over there, and then you got all the fucking people in the middle who are caught up in this, that's what happens. It's not going to be any different. Bluesky is not going to be any different to Twitter. It's not. It's going to go in the same direction. I think it's actually going to be worse, because at least Twitter had some grassroots, organic co-design before the worst people moved in and started bossing everyone around. Like, there was a good few years of grassroots use before the journalists and the mainstream media and the corporations and all of those people started to move in, and the social media consultants. Trust me, I know this. And there was an eternal September, as it were. I was one of the early people to sort of crack that, which was to tweet and get yourself in the paper, knowing that some journalist will just verbatim print you and that you go viral, right? It's not tricky, but that just took over the platform. It's just that on steroids now. But I mean, it's really just a manifestation of a bunch of things. It's a backlash as much as it is. It's not fully Musk's fault. I think he started out trying to do the right thing. I don't think he had sinister motives at the time. I think he's just also been radicalized, which is unfortunate. He's caught brain rot. But the substantive problems with Twitter aren't what people think they are. They didn't start with Elon Musk buying it. Elon Musk bought it with a lot of support, including from people like me, because of a backlash against the actual thieves and the bullies of the old platform. The only reason propaganda works is when it's got a grain of truth to it. And that's the problem that we've got with this whole thing with Twitter and Bluesky and that sort of stuff, which is that, yes, the Twitter experience has been garbage, but the reason the Twitter experience is garbage is because there's, first of all, a massive backlash against sort of woke Twitter, whatever that means, okay? It's a specific group of people who are, I would say, sociopaths, but, they move from platform to platform and they wreck every platform. And those are at war with the right-wing elements of that, and everyone gets caught in the crossfire, and everyone keeps being conned into hopping from platform to platform rather than sort of looking at themselves and their own behaviour and how much we normalise bullying and how much we normalise doxing and dogpiling and brigading and all of that sort of stuff. Like, it might be funny to have some drama every so often, but, we shouldn't be encouraging that kind of behaviour. And honestly, I don't know what you see in Bluesky, because everything that I've seen there, again, normies notwithstanding, is that the people who wrecked Twitter own the joint. And so what we're going to see is yet another Tumblr v 4chan war, which never ends. Bluesky will be Tumblr. X will be like 4chan. I'm oversimplifying. It's BM Pol and Gab and those sorts of, the right-wingers. And I don't know what to tell you. It's a shame that people just can't listen to each other and that people have to let either of these groups overrun our platforms and let themselves get run out. But they're all bullies. They're all horrible. They're all platform wreckers. I don't know why you think anything's going to change. You go on there right now. I've seen it already. You go on there right now and use the R word. I dare you. See what happens. All right, there's already clicks. There's already fucking block lists. There's actual leaderboards for people for how many accounts they can block. And they're sitting there competing for how many people they can block. It's the same problem with Twitter. They're just going to use it to mass report. They're going to use it to harass. And it's those garbage people that jump from platform to platform to platform. The same problem exists on X, but like I said, at least I've got 15 years of curating an algorithm and muting and blocking people. I'm not starting over again on Bluesky. I have set up so that it's automated. I've set it up so that when I tweet, that tweet goes to Bluesky or Threads, and I'm just hedging my bets. It's like I automate a lot of my social media now anyway. But you're going to have a honeymoon period. And I'm just warning you, if you're still a bully and you still enjoy bullying, it's not going to change. If you're a bully, you're just going to be a bully on a new platform. And if you are blocking anyone who votes for Trump, despite the fact that anyone who actually does pay attention to that, and paying attention to it does not mean endorsing it, it means paying attention. I mean, I'm surprised that there's any lawyers who don't pay attention to it, because the role of a good lawyer is to know what your opposition strategy is. Like, for fuck's sake, what's wrong with your head? But if you're sitting there surprised by the win, and because you've got 200,000 people on a fucking block list, maybe that's you. Maybe you need to take the opportunity, rather than taking the same behaviours and the same patterns and the same habits into the second marriage, so to speak, onto a new platform, which will have the same problem, if not worse, I think worse, than pre-Musk Twitter. And if you don't think that there was a problem with pre-Musk Twitter, then I don't know what to say. I can't. You obviously didn't say anything interesting or that went against the grain. Okay. But you're just going to see, it's going to implode. Much like this whole Musk and Trump thing is going to implode on itself. I give them a month. None of those people can play second fiddle to someone else. They're not going to be able to do it. It's going to implode. Enjoy the ride. Just detach from it. It's fine. Just get over it. People are going to say words you don't like. Move on. Okay? And now I'm the first person to acknowledge these problems. It's my job. It's what I do. Calm the fuck down. And also, I just want you to know that it's not going to change the problem. If you're a bully and a sociopath who harasses people for using words you don't like, and you go to a different platform, you're going to wreck that platform too, and there's going to be a backlash against you on that platform. The problem is you. That's all I'm saying. I warned you. I said that if this stuff was not dealt with and encouraged and allowed and facilitated by the mainstream left, centre-right, left Democrats, that they'd lose. And I was right. And at what point, I'm not going to gloat, but I'm going to fucking sit there and go, well, told you so. That's the backlash. I have been warning about this backlash, and I've been saying that it will be severe, and I don't like it. But we're here, so we've got to deal with it. And that's not me punching left or anything like that. Obviously I will defend that to my death. Probably literally, but I'm just saying, like, fucking hell. Look at yourself. Look at your own behaviour. You're a bully. Stop being a bully. Stop sharing stuff that you don't know anything about. Stop just reacting to a single fucking headline. Like, oh my God, this social media ban thing. There's no information. I'm one of the first people who's going to have access to the report that's coming out. And there's all these people getting thousands and thousands of views and likes and interaction and engagement and just stating stuff like it's fact when they're reacting to a TikTok and a fucking headline. They don't know what they're talking about. Like, stop doing that. Maybe you'll have a slightly more pleasant experience if you aren't so stupid. Maybe it's you. Maybe there's a pattern. And maybe rather than jumping to Bluesky, thinking that the grass is greener, and leaving people to get further and further divided into two different cults. You stick it out and you make it better. You actually build things rather than wreck things. I'm happy to be wrong, but trust me, I've been around long enough to know there's a honeymoon period, and eventually it'll be exactly the same, because it's exactly the same people who have nothing better to do than harass people, dogpile people, make stuff up, appoint themselves as experts in everything, and then when anyone corrects them, they fucking have a fit. Those ruin the platform. And it doesn't matter what platform they're on. They ruin the platform because they're full of shit, narcissists and bullies with nothing better to do than interfere with everyone else's fucking business. That's the reality. And no platform will succeed that doesn't deal with it, but no platform will make money because that's what gets engagement. So what we need to do is look at ourselves and our own behaviour and how that contributes to the overall problem. Believing and spreading bullshit. Acting on feel opinions and no data and whatever. Ignoring context, ignoring history, ignoring experts, ignoring facts, ignoring data, just saying it, thinking it and saying it, okay? That was fine before people took Twitter seriously. People should be able to feel it and say it. That would be the ideal thing. But unfortunately, people have to wreck it and corporatize it and make everything so fucking serious that you can't just think stuff, feel stuff and say stuff. So maybe think about that. Think about the responsibility that you have for spreading bullshit. Maybe when an expert fucking replies to you and says, hey, you're incorrect here, don't argue with them. Don't block them. Maybe they're actually trying to help you. Maybe you're part of the problem. Maybe you shouldn't be brigading against people. Maybe you shouldn't be joining pylons. Maybe you shouldn't be trying to stoke drama. Maybe you shouldn't be insulting people. Maybe you should spend less time on social media in general. Maybe you shouldn't be constantly needing to tell the world every part of your fucking day and life. Again, I've lived through that. I do a version of that now that's sort of privacy saving for the most part. But, you know, I was a bleeder as well. It's boring. People fucking get tired of you. You're annoying. They don't need to hear about every fucking thought of every day. And like, I can't believe that anyone shares like pictures and stuff about their kids knowing what we know now. It's different when you shared it like 10, 15 years ago. We didn't know any better, but now you know better. That's child abuse. Stop it. It's their life, not yours. Maybe the people that are posting about tradwife shit and trolling and stuff, stop engaging with it. Because your engagement with it is what drives things. Stop believing stuff. Do the work. Work on you. Work on what you can control. And that is really good advice in the light of everything that's going on in America, because there's a lot of things that are outside of our control, so we can control some things. You can control how you behave towards your neighbour. You can control your own emotions. You can control your own behaviour. You can decide to not do this stuff. Like me, I decided not to participate anymore in tech as a professional and retrain as a lawyer. You can decide to do that. You have agency. No matter how much you think you might not, you have agency. And you're going to have to survive now. And I don't know how to say this any clearer. Stop producing mindless content on shit you don't know anything about to people who are easily led and vulnerable. Don't be part of the problem. Is what you choose to engage with, what you look at, what you mute and block. It doesn't matter. Your behaviour is the thing that is measured. Algorithms generally are designed to be mirrors of what we are and who we really are. Maybe you don't want to face that, but that's actually the case. The reason that you're getting garbage content on your For You tab, for the most part, obviously, you know, every so often something gets through, but it's because you're engaging with it. You're clicking on it, you're commenting on it, you're screenshotting it, you're sharing it. What if you just hit it and said, I'm not interested in it? And interact positively with others over time. Maybe it might take a week or so. But you'll find that that stuff goes away pretty quick. So maybe the algorithm that you are receiving, or the feed that you are receiving that is tailored for you, if anything, that is what they do, is tailor that for you, for better or worse, is tailored for you. They know you better than you know yourself. Maybe if there is a mirror that comes back at you that says you might like this, you need to go, why do they think I like this? That's harder to do, isn't it? Than blaming X and moving to Bluesky. Don't misread me as upset about people leaving X. I mean, I'm disappointed because Twitter's a product that I have a special... I care about it. It's important. It's like I said, Twitter's as much an idea as it is a product. And it's one of those few examples of successful co-design with users. And I find it it's one of those things that I don't think can ever be replicated again. And I do think that there is a strong correlation between those who think being in a bubble and blocking everyone out who disagrees with them, disowning family members, act all culty. There's a correlation between that kind of behaviour or that kind of worldview, this safetyist, word policing, blocking everyone, people who behave a certain way and then act surprised when people push back because they're used to having their own way, and then act surprised when people protest vote against them as well. And I'm not blaming people for the rise of fascism. I'm saying it's human behaviour, social psychology. You could have won the election if you just told those fucks to shut the fuck up. Swear to God, if you stood up to them and said, fuck off, stop it, told the media to go pound sand. Anyway, that's my thoughts.